Hi, it's Josh Goldstein for Comic Book Business News. I'm having, uh, and here on Yosh.com, we are in for another exciting episode. So we have it's a longer show. We have several new features like Manga Corner and we have off the bat. We have some dramatic new news from JLG Comics, our parent company. We have a new comic. Our parent company, Outskirts Press, is yet again dramatically helping us publish another volume of um, Maccabee Ladies and that'll be out probably before my second show in April, which about 10 or 12 new Maccabee Ladies stories. Also, I have some friends also publishing some new comic books, like Jock Stolman, who sometimes freelances for me. In comic book mainstream industry news, um, the industry, although it's did take a financial loss this year at both Marvel and DC, the industry is never looked better because of the industry is starting to constitute the majority of what most Americans um watch on the news. So it's becoming influential, not news, but I meant to say motion pictures. Like we're seeing two Captain Marvel movies this year, and and then we have the Wonder Woman 2 coming up, and we have multiple comic book movies this year. Besides that, like a Dark Phoenix is coming up. It's a wonderful year in comic book movies, and and the next Captain Marvel was, I admit, not the best depiction of that character. It's always one of those secondary Marvel characters. It's never the most important Marvel character, despite its name. Whether it's 60s Captain Marvel or Carol Danvers, it's always kind of like the character that suffers, and even if it's a successful comic book, is canceled. Kind of a lot like other Marvel characters like Nova or Luke Cage, like that. Kind of a secondary character. And Captain Marvel, though, is very popular, and the movie sort of started as the movie, I think, suffers too much from being a control movie. Like, ooh, you are brutally controlled by our Disney Mouse Fest. And it's sort of like, it's not like a mob movie with like most other Marvel movies, and it's not a movie for. It's kind of like I even know some other people who kind of are annoyed with the movie. It's a dumb movie. I don't approve of it. I'm think the fight between the Captain Marvels this year is going to be won by Shazam in April. Also, coming up, I am doing another convention. I am doing Montico Comic Fest in Norristown, Pennsylvania, near Philadelphia. And I am going to be representing there. And I'm signing copies of my comic book. So, any of you feeling free to want to meet me, come on by and meet me there. So anyway, moving on. Comic books are being becoming are an international phenomenon. So I'm starting a new thing called Manga Corner to talk about the manga comic books. So this is not just American comic books. This is Japanese comic books. Hoi. So this is the comic book I am going to be reviewing next. Battle Angel Alita. I know we all remember the movie recently. The This is the story of the young Alita and her really good looks for, like a robot. So so Battle Angel Alita was quite an interesting movie. So I actually and a comic book I recently read was this comic book by Tony DiGirolamo, who used to draw another comic book known in New Jersey, JD. JD the comic book. And JD, as you know, is a creature of myth and lore, the Jersey Devil. So the Jersey Devil comic book is a very well loved state comic book. And I was very lucky to meet Tony Girolamo again. And it was nice to meeting him. Nice to meet him, a fellow man in the industry. So a recommended book. Recommended book. For you video game fans out there, this is a recommended book. I do recommend it. Game On. So it's a novel about video games. It's not a novel, it's a history of video games. So history buffs who like something other than the Romans, the Greeks, and the Alexanders, carefree to check out the history of video games. I did enjoy it. It was a lot of information, not the usual stuff when you read history. It's like likes to focus on the Pac-Mans and the early part, and then it's like a typical video game history book. It's not, unfortunately, not focusing on the more fun arcadey games I kind of like Sega or Xbox. Sir. Oh, and I bought this is a classic comic book I got as a 73 comic book. I recently bought this. And I don't know where I got this. Amazing Spider-Man, what number? 98. Interesting. Losing your grandpa, Spider-Man? And I got one of the really old Supermans from the days when Bart Simpson's dad actually read comic books. And oh yeah, Thor. He's the mighty Thor. Oh. I do not read that many comic books anymore. I am having to be artist, not not collector. It is a drag. I do have limitations. And so I so I am hoping for the upcoming election, Bernie Sanders is president. He's almost. I last election I saw this T-shirt, Bernie America. So, comic book business news is not quite over. So, I think to wrap it up, I would like to um, show one last little little thing. Uh, this is a sort of somebody's book I bought on break at another comic book convention. Somebody's graphic novel. So this I found at least a B plus or an A minus. If you ever see this guy, help him out. So I think this is all our time for now. So later, my friend.